I was struck by this description of the demoniac. Night and day, among the tombs and on the hillsides, he was always crying out and bruising himself with stones. And I began to think about just this experience in our modern culture where so many of our teens and maybe even adults are cutting themselves, and all sorts of different reasons why this is happening. But I think at core, at root, there's a deep self-hatred that enters in. And I see this not just in those who cut themselves, but in so many different ways. And this comes from the evil one. This shame, this self-hatred comes from the evil one. Now, it doesn't mean that if someone is cutting that they're possessed. I'm not talking about that. But God does not tell us to hate ourselves. Those things that go through our mind that says you're awful, you're terrible, you're a failure, you'll never amount to anything, that is not the voice of God. That is the voice of the evil one. Because he hates us. He hates us. And he tries to convince us that we are worthless. But you remember, my dear sisters and brothers, we are worth every drop of the blood of Christ. That is how God sees us. We are his beloved sons and daughters. And every time those words come through our minds, which bruise us, as it were, you're awful, you're hatred, you're terrible, you'll never amount to anything. Whatever those words are, those words that you know so intimately, that every time you make a mistake come up in your mind. Every time something goes wrong, that comes through your mind. Every time that is, speak the truth to that. No, I am a beloved daughter, a beloved son of Almighty God. I am not worthless. I am worth every drop of his blood. He loves me. That is where my worth is. I'm thinking about, in the rite of exorcism, there's always a renewal of the baptismal promises. Why? Because that baptismal covenant is so key, where God adopts us into his family. And we need to remember that, especially when those voices are speaking to us, those words are speaking to our hearts. Remember who we are. That God has chosen you. He's chosen me. That we are loved. We need to speak that. And sometimes we even need to speak it out loud when those thoughts are going through our minds. Because we're a sacramental people. Sometimes those thoughts are so loud, we need to speak truth to the lies. May we allow the healing love of Jesus to wash over us. May we always remember who we are, not trying to hurt ourselves or speak ill against even ourselves, but rather knowing the truth that we are beloved sons and daughters of Almighty God.